So this is the third session I've had with my new VAS Spectre model, and I must admit I'm finding it a little bit frustrating at the moment. It flies okay some of the time, but I'm experiencing some serious glitches at random times through the flight. It just changes height or direction and makes it very, very difficult to fly. I thought I'd track the problem down to a stripped aileron servo, but I've replaced that, and this flight is after replacing it, and I'm still experiencing the glitches. The OSD that I'm using is a cheap one from Hobby King that's been reflashed, but it's really been a big help in analysing what's actually been going on here. So this is an example of what's happening. So the plane's doing circuits in a left-hand bank, suddenly banked sharply to the right, and I've got to bring it back. What I've noticed from looking at the videos is that these sudden changes in attitude tend to correspond to the GPS coordinates disappearing from the OSD screen, as you can see in this side down sequence. Now sometimes the plane will suddenly bank left, sometimes it'll bank right, sometimes it'll pitch up, sometimes it'll pitch down. There's no real way of knowing, but it makes it very difficult to fly. The link to the GPS coordinates obviously has made me think that there might be something wrong with the autopilot, but I'm actually flying the plane in manual mode, so the autopilot doesn't actually have control of the servos in this mode, or so I believe. So here's another example, the plane suddenly pitching down and needing to be recovered. Another one coming up here. So that's done a little bank to the left. Another one coming up here, it's a sudden down pitch. They're the scariest ones. This one hardly seems to have any impact at all. And in between glitches it seems to fly fine, nice and stable, so it's very odd. So I've turned the stabiliser on now, so I'm still experiencing the glitches, but what the stabiliser does is makes the impact less dramatic. It's obviously able to make the corrections after the GPS comes back a little bit more smoothly than I can manually. Unfortunately, I don't have as much control with the stabiliser on, but I've decided to land with it on, and that can get you into trouble if you're not careful. Well, fortunately the Spectre is as tough as advertised, and despite that 45 km/h impact with the ground, there was no significant damage to the plane. It took 5 minutes to fix. I think I've tracked the problem down to a dodgy connector plug between the autopilot and the GPS antenna. What seems to have been happening is the autopilot was momentarily losing power and subsequently rebooting, which caused the control surfaces to go to neutral, which is awkward if you're in the middle of a manoeuvre. Anyway, I've tightened the plug up, and hopefully that will fix it, and the next flight will hopefully be on the goggles, if the wind ever stops.